I'm gonna work on it. No audio, John. We're missing the theme song, John.
Don't blow this, John. Where's the theme song?
John, no theme song, man. Ah, no theme song.
Visual
No
art
theme song.
passage.
Wheels already off the wagon.
This is a
Drawing
nightmare.
Hive.
Did I
We
throw it
did.
off? What,
We
what
did. There
happened?
was
There was
you.
no
You didn't turn
sound.
you didn't turn the audio on. It was just us watching.
In all the
Visual
havoc at
art
the beginning,
passage.
I didn't check the box.
It's fine. Well, Matt, you know what? If you, Joe, I'll send you the theme song. You can imagine what it would have been like.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I could go back and do it again if you want.
Totally, do it again.
Let's do it again.
Okay, hold
Spring,
on.
spring in the
All right.
magic.
Somebody come up with something fun to talk about for about just a few seconds here. Hold on.
Visual art passage. Is it something like that?
It's honestly, it's not that far off.
It's not quite
No,
that
it
good.
is. It's legit. He got like an ad firm
Yeah.
to make it for us.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
All
All
right.
I'm almost there, Timmy. Don't
Okay,
worry.
so-
Don't worry.
Zoom
I'm
asking me to
so
confirm my
worried.
speaking language. It's English.
Okay. Is that full screen?
Yes.
It
Full
is.
screen. Welcome to Drawing Hive.
Joe, that was worth it, right?
Totally worth it. I'm glad we reset.
Yeah, me too. God, I apologize for screwing up, everybody. So, hey, tonight's going to be really, really fun. As you can see, we got a special guest up there, Joe Vaux. Joe, thank you for being here.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Tonight we are drawing Resident Alien, and we have the right people in the room to do it. And before we do anything else, I have to say thank you to Cassandra. This was her putting all of this together, images, idea, and then she introduced Joe to us. So thank you, Cassandra. Really appreciate it. From
So
the,
excited.
from those of you that don't know, if you're a first-time viewer, all of this is brought to you by Visual Arts Passage. That's what this wonderful logo up here was for. And this is a free event, but it's not everything we do. Our free event is the Drawing Hive. Everything we do is we are an online mentorship program. We have a semester starting this weekend, and we help people develop careers in illustration and as fine artists. So check us out. We'll talk more about that later. And here's some of the great reference that Cassandra chose for us.
All right.
So fun.
Look at this. I mean, it was such an exciting thrill for me to have like a small part in this cool show. I don't know if everybody's seen it or not, but it's one of these things that I've worked on Family Guy for quite a few years now, like 20 years. And one of the writers who was very friendly with me in shop, but then left maybe about a decade ago, was very aware of my extracurricular painting activities outside of the Family Guy shows. And they had this character come up in season 2 where they're like, he's mysterious. His name is Goliath. He's kind of like a Banksy in this world where nobody knows who the artist is, but we would love to use some of your images to represent the artist in the show. And, Alan, Alien, is going to come and go on a little adventure trying to track this Banksy Goliath character down. And the little clues will be within some of the paintings that they find as street art that were just mine projected onto digitally, I don't know, doing special effects
amazing.
stuff. But then there's a gallery show, and so they took a lot of my images that are kind of small actually, but I gave them high-res files and they blew them up to be, really large for camera. And when the episode aired, I was just kind of like blown away with how much screen time I got.
I was so impressed because I watched the show, and so the Goliath episodes came up, and I was like, who is this artist? I love this art. And so then, like right after that, I was in a group show with you, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a show with
It-
Goliath.
Yeah, it's so
um,
funny, and like Chris
we
is.
should totally cut into this. John, I know we got to finish up with the intro, but I want to hear more about your story with Resident Alien.
Okay.
Yeah, this
But
Yeah, John, do your thing.
Joe, I had a ball going through your website and pulling some images. Really, really fun stuff.
Thank you.
How we do this is we do three poses, two 20-minute poses and one 40-minute pose. You can
Okay.
choose any one of the four images. You can do one painting the whole night if that's what you want to do, or one drawing the whole night. But I think we're ready to go, Timmy.
yeah,
So,
everybody, I just want to also remind you, please post your work. If this is your first time joining us, post it to Instagram. Tonight's episode is episode 246, which means use hashtag Drawing Hive 246 and hashtag or add Visual Arts Passage. Give Joe a tag, Alan Tudyk a tag. It'll be fun. And we're gonna check out all the art at the end of the night. It's my favorite part. So please share your work with us. Awesome, and we're off. So I didn't mean to cut off Cassandra and Joe. I loved hearing that. So like that must have been totally because I'm assuming you had not seen the episode till it was on TV, right?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see a thing. And the other thing is I was aware that Chris had left Family Guy and he was pitching something else. And then I remember some of the other Family Guy crew saying, "Oh, Chris's new show is fantastic." When season one came out,
Mhm.
but life's busy and I didn't get to it and wasn't even sure what it was about. And then season one passes and it's over the summer in between, the seasonal show year. And I get a cold call. I'm sitting on the couch from Chris Sheridan. And he's like, "Hey, I hate to bug you. I'm sorry, but I have an interesting offer for you. And, you tell me if you're interested at all." And, so we have this conversation about using my art and whatnot. And, of course, I'm going to say yes, A, because it's just good exposure. But I hadn't seen the show yet, so I binge it. I'm watching it, and it took 3 or 4 episodes. I'm already in love with it. 1, 2 episodes in, I'm into it. But season one ends, and I'm like, this show's great. I can't believe he asked me to be a part of it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like a great combination. You can see his comedy edge coming through. The actors are great. There's a lot of heart, but then there's, some cool sci-fi kind of moments. And Alan is just incredible as this weird alien trying to adapt to our society. And, you learn what his
So great.
goal
Yeah.
is in season one, and then that adapts. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it was just so fun to actually really be in love with what I was being asked to contribute to. So
Well, and I feel like there's been many times where I've seen a show where the art they use, that you can tell they grabbed it quick and it's kind of phoned in. And I felt like this was the first time where I was like, they got a legit artist to do that. Who did that?
that was one of Chris's pitches too. It's all his thought process. He says, "Yeah, we could have just kept this in-house and produced something, but I felt like it wouldn't really have the guts of somebody who's, devoted a lifetime to like, creating and making stuff." And then I thought of you and I figured I'd ask before we just, went for it on our own. And yeah, all on him. Like, I think he had been to a few of my art shows, and we used to do internal art shows on Family Guy. So a lot of times, if there wasn't a specific theme, um, we would create new stuff. And, I was always doing things in my Joe Vaux style as opposed to Family Guy. I've done a few like Family Guy driven paintings in my lifetime, but yeah, most of it was just me
Yeah.
doing what I love. And so, yeah, from that, memory and, seeing my posts on Instagram, he was like, "Hey, I think you might be perfect." It also helps, I think, that a lot of my earlier work, it shifted a little bit, was like ocean based, a lot of like kind of sea creatures if you go way back. So the stuff he was looking at, um, and with the alien coming from kind of a watery world and having this relationship with an octopus, it kind of fit the bill a little bit more.
It did. Well, and then there was a Family Guy episode, right, that used your art too.
That happened years before. And that was another just, I'm so thankful that these writers were kind enough to think of me. But I think that's one of the beauties of the Family Guy show is that we, in our prime, now with COVID, things are a little different, but worked side by side with the writers. The writers were in the same floor, same
Oh,
office,
yeah.
where like shows like The Simpsons, the writers are in their own building, miles away from the artists, and there's very little interaction. But in our shop, you talk with the writers, getting coffee in the morning, getting bagels, and so obviously a lot of them were aware. Different writer this time, but this is Wellesley Wild, who was writing an episode where I think all three of our shows at the time, it was the Cleveland Show, Family Guy, and American Dad. Since they're all East Coast based, we're going to be affected by a hurricane that was going up the coast. And it was going to be one of these things where, each family is, choosing a different way to kind of manage what's going on in the storm. And yeah, so it was, the morning of a table read. I wasn't even planning to go. I wasn't even directing yet. I was an assistant director at the time. And one of the PAs, who was a friend of mine, says, "Hey, Joe, did you have anything to do with this table read today?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't. I'm gonna try and make it, but I don't know." She's like, "You definitely got to go to the table read." And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" He's like, "There's something very special in there that I think you'll like." So I show up, and the storm's raging outside, and Brian and Stewie are doing silly stuff, and then Brian's like, "Hey, I think I might try some of these drugs I've been stashing. It's like a perfect rainy day. Got nothing else I can do." And then they wrote in the descriptive part of the script, like Brian, takes the drugs and slips into Joe Vaux's painting world, a nightmare, a nightmare basically. And my eyes, like, cartoon style, like, what? They just went for it, and they figured
That's
out.
amazing.
Excited about it, but yeah, so I kind of, they said, we scripted some things just so the table read wouldn't be boring, but we basically just want you to do whatever you want. Just, it's got to be horrific. It's a bad experience for Brian. And, it's got to be about, 3 minutes long. So I just went for it and had a lot of fun. So it's a fun, wild ride.
That's amazing. Everybody, I opened the chat on Zoom, so now anybody can use the chat. Toggle it to everyone instead of hosts and panelists, and let us know where you're tuning in from and what mediums you're using tonight. What is everybody? So we got what are you in Photoshop, Joe?
This is, when you asked me to participate, I wasn't sure the best way, and I'm not like uh, really good at setting up all this kind of stuff as far as cameras. And
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I don't paint in the same room with my computer. So I was like, oh, if I do it where I paint, I'm not going to have, my computer near me. And I figured I
Yeah.
needed that. So this is called Toon Boom. It's a Storyboard Pro product. I think they make a lot of animation based and drawing based programs. They're based out of Canada, I think. And yeah, we've been using it, I think, for man, maybe 12 years now or something, and it's been great. It's very storyboard art friendly. There's a lot of panels you can toggle through, and you can kind of see how your animation is working. You can build crude animation, so you can test your cycles if the Griffins are doing something funny, or Peter's got a different run or whatever. So you can kind of build a rough version of the animation. And so yeah, I'm drawing in that. It's kind of like Photoshop. It doesn't have all the tricks and bells and whistles that a Photoshop would have, but
Yeah.
it is pretty sweet for just sketching and you know, you can do, I'll add some color to this or whatever later, but it's a nice user-friendly art program.
Hmm. Scott, that looks like Procreate. Is that right?
It's this little indie app that I'm proud to introduce to the audience because I'm
Yeah,
sure nobody's heard of it
yeah,
before. Yeah, it's called Procreate, made by a bunch of people down in Australia.
nice.
You
Good
heard it here
dad.
Cassandra,
first, people.
yeah. Cassandra, how about you?
Oh, cardboard treated with GAC 100 and acrylic paint.
I bet I've heard you say that 1,000 times.
I feel like I've said it 1,000 times. Yeah, I
Yeah.
almost had markers tonight,
Yeah,
but
and then you know what? And then you know what? 5 minutes from now, someone will go, what's Cassandra using again?"
What was
No.
that with covered in gack, you said?
Yeah, GAC 100.
What the heck is gack?
It's an acrylic polymer that seals stuff. So you put it like if you buy panels that are pre-treated, they always put GAC down and then they'll put gesso on top, but it just seals so I can work on top of the cardboard and it's not absorbent anymore.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and I have so much cardboard lying around, so this is how I can paint for fun and it not be precious and I can
Yeah.
play.
Is it spelled like G-A-K?
GAC, it's golden GAC 100.
Okay.
Um, John, what are you working in? Oh wow, John, you've
Sean,
been
that looks
working a while.
awesome, man.
I'm
Wow.
blocked in with oil crayons and oil paint.
Nice.
John, what's your like main like are you covering drawing, painting, like as far as your classes go? Is it a little of everything or is it
Our whole goal of our program is to take whatever skill you have and to try to help you identify a direction, a part of the industry you want to work in, and then give you the skill set to do that. The goal of our program is a professional portfolio.
nice?
Yeah.
Um yeah, we were talking earlier about so you did grad school at Syracuse?
I did,
That's
yeah,
Scott. Yeah.
initially MA in illustration at Syracuse. It was their like summer program. It was called like a long distance, or what do they call it? Independent study degree program. So Murray Tinkelman headed that one up with John Thompson and Bob Dacey. And
Okay.
then eventually that was right at the time when Murray left Syracuse. Like I was there for 2 years, got the MA, and then he had kept promising to us it was going to eventually turn into an MFA program. And then
Okay.
it turned out he was kind of being thwarted by the painting department at Syracuse on that.
Oh.
So he didn't leave under the greatest of terms, but he left like a little bit frustrated. And then he immediately got scooped up by the University of Hartford, who said, "Hey, we want your program and we'll make it MFA from like jump." And he said, "Okay, but anybody who studied with me in the past needs to be allowed to like join in right off the bat. Like, I want all the credits to transfer and all that." And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, of course." And so I was
Oh.
able to go to Hartford for another year and a half and get the MFA, but again, under Murray's direction. So yeah, I got to know
Cool.
Murray very well towards the end of his life. Really loved both him and
Yeah,
Harold
I was
quite
so
a bit.
sad to hear when he passed. I mean, it's been a while
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah, right, right.
uh
Could one of you maybe explain a little bit, like give a bit of background about who you're talking about and kind of how you cross
so
paths with them? Yeah.
um we both, I guess, had some time at Syracuse University. I was there from 90 to 94, and like I was in the illustration program, and Murray Tinkelman was, I think he might have been head of the illustration department while I was there, and I think primarily known for black and white work, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, but very talented. He did a lot of cool, like beetles crossed with machines with like a knight. These are some of the images I remember, but then he would do like baseball players, but very talented black and white style. I don't remember any of his color work, but uh, he was a fun guy, a little rough on the edges, but uh, definitely a good teacher. And so I had him. He would take the, I guess it would be sophomores. Everybody in the undergrad art program would start with, not with a focus yet. And so the illustration classes didn't begin until your sophomore year. And so he was one of my sophomore year professors. And yeah, he was great.
Murray was famous for having just an encyclopedic knowledge of illustration history, and his slideshow lectures, he made a point of he had an attitude that actually influenced me as an educator, where he said, if you need notes, that means you're not ready to give your lecture. Like you should know the material so well that you could just freestyle it. So he would give these lengthy lectures, on the golden age of illustration, and then through kind of the 50s, 60s era, where he was a member of Pushpin Studios, which for viewers who are not familiar, who are listening right now, Pushpin Studios is a very, very famous um, illustration and design, but really focused on illustration studio back when illustration studios were a thing for advertising and whatnot. And Murray was a mainstay there. And as Joe mentioned, he really became famous for very, very tight, very detailed pen and ink cross-hatching work, like really meticulous, painstaking work. And he eventually ended up doing a bunch of Western covers, like for paperbacks, did like a whole run of, I think, all of Louis L'Amour's novels and some other things like that. But I think his greatest impact was probably even though he made the Illustrators Hall of Fame, he really, I would say his impact was as an educator, working for years, both at Syracuse and prior to that. I think he had been at Parsons for a long time, so he kind of hopped around some of the various art programs. But yeah, very influential guy. And as Joe very accurately said, a guy who could be pretty rough around the edges, but was hilarious and loved his students fiercely. So I miss Murray a lot. He was a great guy.
Yeah, he was
Those
a
are
good
my
dude.
favorite people.
Oh, you knew him too?
No, no, no. I'm just saying, like, when people are described like quality people that are rough around the edges, like they're interesting people. Those are great people to be around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. You knew he was different because he was an older guy when I met him, maybe in his 60s or late 50s, but he kind of reminded me a little of like George Carlin with the
Yeah.
ponytail. Like he'd have the gray
Yeah.
hair pulled back in a ponytail, and he had this like cool leather jacket. I'm like, whoa, this guy's badass. Like
Dressed in all black all
illustration,
the time.
bad.
He was the man in black.
Yeah. But yeah, he was a great dude, and like you said, he would do anything for you. He would spend a lot of time, when we were young, and this is pre digital work really, where everything you made that you liked in your portfolio had to be photographed, so you had a record of it for your portfolio. And I remember just spending hours, you know, with everybody, like, all right, do you have your film? Because everybody had to buy your own film, but then he would sit with the camera and shoot everything. Just so many hours. Uh, but yeah, he was a good dude.
I've got a question from the audience for Joe.
Oh yeah.
Do you
What
have
is it
any
there?
animators? Every animator I've met, they're animated. I'm not joking. They really are. Like, there's a trend here.
Hey, it doesn't help to have one of these Trader Joe's cappuccino drinks right before you do one of these things.
Okay,
I'm firing on all cylinders right now.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. We'll get you. I'll Postmates you a second one for the second hour. Uh, Here's the question: do you have any advice for a soon-to-be graduate going into the animation field?
Man, I've done a couple talks last year too. It's a weird time in the industry in general. Um, as far as where I'm located, Hollywood. I think it's going to come back around, but post writer strike, things have been different, a little bit slower. During COVID, things were kind of hopping because since you couldn't do live action shooting with all the restrictions, people were like, well, we can still make animated shows. So all of a sudden there were all these great animated shows that were coming on to like a Netflix and a Hulu and whatnot. Since then, belts have been tightened and there isn't a ton of work out there right now, but you still see a lot of shows being made. So I think it's the industry is spreading a little bit, which is kind of cool to see. So I think like now there's a lot of amazing French studios that are creating really
Yeah.
high-end shows. There's one that's on I think it's kind of a collab between a Canadian studio and French studio, but like Common Side Effects, which is on Max right now, and then this other show, Scavengers of Rain, which is like a sci-fi show, are really well done, like really subtle, cool animated moments that are inspiring. Um, so I don't know, like it depends on the kind of animation you want to get into. If it's more like you know, Simpsons, Family Guy, prime time, like sitcom-y kind of style, there's probably a direction. And then if you're thinking more like, oh, I like features or uh, a little more edgy stuff,
Yeah.
there are still a lot of like locations where you can find some cool opportunities. As far as advice, you just gotta stay passionate, stay focused, and you know, keep attacking it. Um,
That's
that's
a good
probably,
answer.
yeah.
I dig that.
I,
And
I
people,
was very lucky with like
yeah.
obviously, I went to school for illustration
Mhm.
and the idea like I've always loved animation, but it wasn't like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna do that. Um, I ended up getting from a friend the name and number of Ralph Bakshi, who's a very old school um, Hollywood animator guy. He was always kind of the anti-Disney type guy. He was creating Fritz the Cat and
Oh, I
the
love his
original Lord
stuff.
of the
Yeah.
Rings that was animated, Fire and Ice, working with Frank Frazetta,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
Cool World, which
American
was
Pop.
Barry Jackson, who's like a really awesome illustrator too, did a lot of the backgrounds in that. But it was he was, kind of inching near retirement maybe and had a small studio in New York. And I got his name and number. It was New York based for years. That's where I grew up. And I walked into his small little like studio space and showed him my portfolio. And at the time, he was kind of pitching things to what became Cartoon Network, but still Hanna-Barbera. And they were trying to basically hire a bunch of animators to create 3 to 4 minute shorts that potentially would be shows they would pick up to become series. So out of that, like a lot of the, not Spice Girls, but the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory,
Yeah.
things like that that were like older cartoons, but kind of launched the Cartoon Network in a lot of ways. So Ralph was working on something for them, and it was something I just started painting backgrounds on and didn't know what the hell I was doing. He was just like, this line here is important, and this line over here is important. These where the animation interacts. So just it's got to be a cityscape or something behind. And I kind of was just in some cases there'd be a rough idea of what to do art wise, but like I'm
Yeah.
inside a club, but not a lot of detail. Um, and yeah, so I started painting backgrounds with this guy, and it was about a year of doing that, and then he was also pitching a show to HBO, and when that sold, he was like, "Listen, Joe, I'm not going back to Hollywood." But if you want to go, you're a young guy, you might really like it out there. So give me a recommendation. I met the people at the small HBO, it was called Boo Animation Studio. And they knew I was young and green and but were willing to take a chance. On me as well. And it I couldn't have asked for like a better first gig because it was basically an extension of school. I think that we had
Yeah.
35 people in the studio. Not all of those artists, but
Yeah.
I was hired as a background painter. So initially I was working on Spawn, which was like Ralph McFarlane's. Banshee. No, Todd McFarlane's
Yeah.
Endeavor animated version of his comic.
Uh-huh.
And so I worked on that for the first season and just painting backgrounds. And I was kind of an apprentice under this other background painter. And then we started Ralph's show, which was called Spicy City, which I think you can see on Max. You can find it. It's kind of like a Blade Runner theme, like futuristic world, but all rubbery Ralph characters. And uh, yeah, it was awesome. But those were where I fell in love with my first acrylic paint that I loved called Cell Vinyl. And since I don't know, late like mid 2000s, that company went under mainly because of health reasons. It was a small family-run business in Culver City where I live, which was super convenient too. And they stopped producing the paint, and I was crushed.
Oh,
Joe, have you seen what I think is the heir apparent to cartoon color? Because I used to paint with that too, and the closest thing I found to it is Golden has now their line what they call So Flat acrylics. Have you tried those?
That's what I use now.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that because like I was really stumbling for a couple years where I was buying French paints that, declared they were very flat and, perfect for animation work. But I think since, animation wasn't really, they were all doing digital work at that point. So like not a lot of, you know, people were using the cell vinyl paint anymore, maybe.
Hmm,
And
hmm.
but I think ultimately, because I called a couple times, I was like, "What about selling your formula to, somebody like a Golden or whatever?" And they're like, "No, no, no, we're gonna keep it in the family. Our dad invented this years ago, and but what about us?"
They didn't. They didn't. They didn't
They
want to
weren't moved
sell
by
the.
that.
They
That's
weren't
so
moved at all. I
interesting.
was like, "Jeez."
That's so interesting to refuse to sell the formula. Everybody, we're moving on to the second image. If you're on the
Oh,
panel, you get to do whatever you want. If you're
oh,
in the audience, uh, you know, and if it's your first couple times joining, I recommend trying to tackle all the images. Uh, Post it to Instagram as we go through the night. It's hashtag Drawing Hive 2246, 246. And at Visual Arts Passage, please do the tags. I want to see all the art at the end of the night. We got to show Joe all the art. So
yeah, I want to
please,
see.
please post it. Um,
Please.
Joe, do you remember the first story, maybe not complete story, but just little story that you animated that you brought to life?
Oh, well, I do. And it's one of these things that I'm like not super proud of it, except the
No,
fact that
is
I survived
it?
it. Uh,
Is it?
I
Is it? Am I going to be cutting this out of the episode later?
no. It was at those HBO years,
Yeah.
and it was a project. So after we had Spawn, we did Spicy
Yeah.
City. They did small shows, like six episode seasons. Um,
Yeah.
and they were kind of trying to drum up more work. So I think it was Bette Midler had a huge contract with HBO, and her husband was part of this comic duo called the Kipper Kids, and he's a British guy, and he and his partner. I never understood it. Like we were watching, it wasn't YouTube, but I don't know, like watching little clips of their act, and they would have like really long noses and really pointy chins, and they
Yeah.
would just kind of harass people with lots of that. "Ugh."
Yeah.
They didn't talk at all, but they wanted to pitch an animated version of what they did.
Yeah.
And I'm still low man on the totem pole here, but I've expressed interest with my producers and
Mhm.
the people there that hey, I want to try other things. Like I like background painting and I've done some character design and I've
I
done
mean, were you just in a place where you're just like, I just want to do anything, everything. I just want experience, right?
kind of. I think I was starting to see that as much as I love painting and I was always painting at home too, uh, I like the storytelling aspects of the storyboard artist job.
Uh-huh.
And but they let me try everything. So like on Spawn season 2, I think I did a bunch of character design. It's some storyboarding.
Are you like in your early 20s?
Yeah, I was like maybe 25, 26,
Okay.
around there. And like constantly humbled. Like the artists that worked there were, first of all, very nice, and totally willing to like help you learn. But also just you would look at their work and question your decision to be an artist. You'd be like, oh God, they're just so good. Like, I don't know if I can do it. But anyway, these people were like constantly like, no, 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 you're fine. Just keep plugging away at it. And so, but this Kipper Kid thing shows up on their doorstep, and it was one of these things like Bette Midler is huge at the time, a big client of HBO, and we're doing it. We're gonna do a 2-minute Kipper Kid pitch, and but none of the directors, none of the like real talented folk wanted to do it. 'Cause, I mean, you can see from afar it's kind of a train wreck, and you're like, I don't even know what this is. Like,
There's certain so I worked in like commercial photography. There's like little tells that you can pick up on like I think with like a team production where you can like you're just like, oh, that's not gonna work out, and you stay away from it.
yeah,
And
I mean,
you have to get in on those to learn how to see them, right?
a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
and it was just one of these things where it was kind of the perfect training piece for a young kid. Like, all right, Joe, this we're gonna put you on it because they had to appease, the Chiefs, and this way they cut two birds, one stone. Like, give Joe some experience and keep the bosses happy. Yeah, we're doing stuff. So I start working on this thing, and it's basically write, direct, the Kipper kids. I can't remember his name, but yeah, I had like a vague idea. Like, okay, the Kipper kids come into a tattoo shop, or they have their own tattoo shop, and this female client comes in, and they give her a tattoo, and that was it. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So limited dialogue, but had to kind of sculpt a little bit of a script. It was like a 2-page
Yeah.
script, and then storyboard the script, design all their characters, and I came up with the idea that the tattoos that the Kipper kids put onto this lady ultimately are kind of alive and have a life of their own on her body. And she's a little out there too, but I worked for months on this thing and then worked with a studio overseas, to execute the vision. And yeah, it comes back and it is what it is. And we do our best to make it,
Yeah.
nice as we can. And the Kipper kids were happy. I assume Bette Midler was just ecstatic. And it the like it was funny because then HBO is always hungry for some awards, so they took this thing to some of the like animation festivals, and the one that's in
Yeah.
Pasadena I went to, and
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm proud to be there, but I'm like, oh God, here it comes. And it's 2 minutes of just weird, and there was like dead silence in the packed house, because there are all these other things
Yeah.
that were showing, and people are like, wonderful. And this Skipper Kid thing happens, and everybody's like, oh, that was tasteless and weird.
Tasteless and weird.
But
That would be nice to put between the two laurels. You put on like a film festival type thing, and you just tasteless and weird.
I'm trying to
It's a
think
great
because
byline.
the
Yeah.
festival it was part of was like well known. It was like Spike and Mike's something. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do it or not, but the thing ultimately that cracked me up even more is the Korean studio that was overseas was looking for work as well. And they thought, oh, maybe this Kipper Kid thing with HBO is the new thing. Like that's the new SpongeBob in America or whatever. And one of the directors that worked on my 2-minute thing, or I guess the director at the Korean studio, uh, went ahead and boarded out kind of an equally long Kipper Kid next episode and sent all the boards to us and like, what do you think? And the fact that they thought, maybe this thing has legs. We're gonna crack me up too. I was like, hey, see, they're inspired. But yeah, but that was my first like director type gig, and I, you know, as weird as the project was, I'm kind of a weird guy, so there was like, all right, there's something in that for me, and I really enjoyed the kind of the responsibility of taking something from page to screen, kind of, even if it
Yeah.
wasn't brilliant. The idea of you know, something that hadn't been resolved at all, and figuring it out. And I like to use, you know, a lot of those skills in Family Guy too, like reading
Yeah.
between the lines and figuring out where I can add a little Joe Vaux to something else that, you know, is scripted, because we're very much by the book, by the script kind of
Yeah.
show, but there are moments where you can kind of stretch your legs a little bit and
Mhm.
flex your ideas and stuff. So, um, yeah, kid by
Uh,
kids.
that's really funny. We've got
Now I
we
want to
didn't get
find
to
it.
I didn't get to intro you. Raymond Benia is here, and Ray is kind of the villain of Drawing Hive. Ray,
Look it up. He's all
Joe.
dark.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I think that's fairly accurate, I guess, in certain circles. Mostly Timmy. Nice to meet you, Joe.
Hey, Ray. Raymond or
Ray,
Ray? Which do you prefer? One or the
Either
other?
or, yeah, whatever feels natural.
Okay.
Ray, you've got a history that kind of crossed paths with animation for a little while.
Yeah. But I studied to be one for a bit before I turned into illustration. So when you were saying Bakshi, I'm a huge Bakshi fan. So I was,
How can you not be?
yeah,
He really, like, you know, I don't know the ages of everybody here, but when I was a kid, and I'm 52, he was like an option, you know, like outside of the sing song stuff. And the Disney stuff is beautiful, no questions about that. But he was like something else that you could really like, whoa, you can do this with animation too.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, you know, because he had some different. So his personal style is kind of these rubbery characters, which are fun and energetic, and there's a certain vibe to those. But then, you know, doing his Fire and Ice and his Lord of the Rings version, I was a big like Dungeons and Dragons player, and the fact that there was some animation that was trying to represent that world was huge for me as a kid. I was like,
Yeah.
his movie Wizards, I think, just kind of uh blew me out of the water as a kid.
John, are you I know you've been waiting. Are you ready for
Okay.
your segment?
Chomping at the bit, Timmy. Can't
All
wait.
right. I'm gonna play you on. All right.
That was
I
Joe,
misread the
cute.
music. I'm
Joe,
sorry.
you knew
Can
we
we
had a
record that and
Joe,
make it the new one?
Joe, can we'll clip that. We're gonna clip that for the new intro for John's segment.
Oh, is this it?
I'm
Which,
gonna
by
be
the way,
really
everybody,
cool.
the soundboard is back.
Drawing with John.
Okay, so you can see this now, right?
Yes.
I'm sharing.
Yes.
I thought an appropriate artist for tonight, considering what Joe does and looking at his paintings, I thought this would be a fun individual to talk about. Salvador Dali, which is Salvador Domingo Felipe Jacinto Dali Domenic. That's his real name. We'll call him Salvador. Let me put some brushes down here, sorry. So, really interesting. I had an amazing time going through his work today because, you know, I saw him in art school. I saw him, bits and pieces of him all over the place. I had no idea. I mean, I was blown away when I saw the facilitation of this individual. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. Started out, he was looking at impressionists, and he did beautiful impressionistic paintings. And he kind of, you know, this is a kind of a funny thing for me because I've said this before in this room about how my father like went through art history as like he just learned different schools and different ways to make art. And I think this is a perfect example of somebody else that's done this. And he moved from the Impressionists to the Post-Impressionists and was phenomenal at it. I mean, just this is a beautiful post-impressionistic still life. These are great pieces of work. And then it kept going. Things got wilder. All good though. I mean, this is gorgeous. What a great still life. Very painterly. I'm not really talking about if anybody knows much about him, I know that I know he's obviously from Spain, and he was born in Figueres, Catalina, Spain. It's also where he resides and he rests there in the Dali Museum there. Um, he studied at the San Fernando School of Fine Arts in Madrid. But this guy did everything. He learned so many different directions about being an artist and became wildly facilitated in so many different directions. Things starting to change here a little bit. And then all of a sudden, there's a pointillistic piece, beautiful painting, beautiful figure. And then all of a sudden, the cubists come into his world. And he does a bunch of beautiful cubist paintings. And he takes that, and this is kind of like the beginning of what he's really known for. He's known as a surrealist. And you'll see how it keeps evolving. One of his most famous paintings there. Nobody's saying a word.
I was just gonna say
I
I know
Cool, just
I
a
know a
few
lot
words.
about I know a lot about Dolly, but I'm just curious. I meant to say I don't know a lot about Dolly. Was there a lot of drugs happening?
More towards the end of his life.
Really?
It really there was some question there, things I've read about him
Do
today.
people talk about like hallucinogens and stuff, or is it?
Like,
I
I mean,
mean, I think it's relevant. I don't think it's an insane question to
no, no,
ask.
no. He was already doing this
Yeah.
without drugs.
Really?
This was before. This was
Yeah.
definitely before.
The school, our Instagram account has been forced to become a meme account because nobody engages with it unless we post memes. But I had a
the
video.
PSA portion.
Yes.
No, no. But that was my passive aggressive. No, but I found a video of Salvador Dali on a talk show, like walking onto a talk show late at night.
Oh, with
And
the anteater.
yeah, the anteater, and it's insane. And I posted it because it's just funny because he walks in and he tosses it on the ground like it, and then I posted that like as the meme, and it's funny or whatever, it does well. But then somebody's like, you gotta watch the whole video of that because it's crazy, and it's like he really shouldn't have been allowed to have an anteater.
Right. He was
No.
an incredibly eccentric individual.
Yeah.
And I would say a megalomaniac, but
Yeah,
very
yeah,
talented.
definitely.
Big time.
Cassandra, that really came through in the anteater video.
Yeah, I heard Dolly, like if he was in New York City, he would walk outside, and if people didn't immediately recognize him because he has a very distinctive mustache and everything, he would pull out a bell and start ringing it so people would look at him. He loved attention so much.
What an a-hole!
That sounds like a Family Guy character.
And he managed to piss off his family, his
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
With
Sounds like a
his-
guy that's doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
Yeah.
think his brain was already kind of wired that way.
Yeah, really. It was predisposed. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely thought he was brilliant, and I think he definitely was brilliant. He accomplished so much and absorbed so much, and was able to facilitate it in his finished work. Was the portrait of Picasso here.
Wow.
Fantastic portrait work.
Mm-hmm.
Still, let's stay humble, all right, Dolly? Come
There
on.
was no staying humble in his part. I went to one of his museums in Spain. I mean, it's so cool seeing it all together. Like his work is amazing,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to be around him for an extended amount of time.
Well,
Yeah, and I was just gonna
there's a lot of
remind
people
everybody.
who felt that way about him.
Yeah,
But you know, he was doing kind of moved into classicalism, um, and he just wandered all over the place. And some of it, you know, he would bounce back and forth. Like he would do, you know, these beautiful portrait work well after he was way into his surrealistic work.
Yeah, I got to see that last one in person. It's a whole room. That's a whole room like that.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh,
real
it's huge.
There's two. He has two museums totally dedicated to him. The one that
Mhm.
Cassandra went to, and then there's one in St. Petersburg, Florida, the Dali Museum.
That's a cool one.
Oh,
He's the writer of the greatest intro to any book that I've ever read in my life.
really?
Whoa.
That's a big statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 50 Secrets of the Magic Craftsmanship. You ever read that book? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
In the intro, he goes,
They call me Ishmael. No.
he says, there's two things you need to be a great painter. The first is to be Spanish, and the second is to have the name Dali.
Yeah, okay, that sounds dot on.
That's how he starts his book.
Well, damn, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
such
also
that.
he was like, I am surrealism. There's nobody else but me. That's
That's funny. He would have done so well in hip hop. Like,
Man.
he just sounds like a rapper before.
Yeah, a lot of
Just
ego,
missed it.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I love. He sounds like my favorite rappers.
I wonder, like, because he was into performance and stage stuff too. Didn't he have some, like, with the Moulin
he
Rouge?
did the spellbound scene. That was him in Hitchcock. He got to do that scene. And then like there was the Dune that was never made, and he was originally gonna be the Emperor in it.
Oh wow.
Join me, Luke. I could see him as the Emperor.
Yeah, like that documentary about the attempted making of Dune. It is a wild ride just to hear what they thought they were gonna pull off. There was no way that could be pulled off.
I love a documentary about a failed movie.
He moved after during wartime. He moved from Spain to the United States, lived in the United States for 8 years, and became wildly commercially successful. And part of that is he did a lot of portraits of people, and it's amazing how he dialed this in, and he move in and out, you know, from this really to this wildness to this very controlled, very facilitated painter.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, talented.
John, do you have the Destino work?
Which is, I'm not sure what that is, Ray.
Oh, I thought that's why you well, I thought that's why you brought it in, because of Joe was here, that he he worked with Walt Disney.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
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 You know, so I may have blown by a little bit of it,
Yeah.
and there might be some more coming up.
Wow.
Joe, have you ever seen Destino?
No.
I have not.
Oh my God, yeah. So he Disney brought him in to collaborate on a short, and he did original paintings for it,
Oh.
just for this, and it got canned, and it was just like a myth. Basically, it was like a rumor forever. They have photos of him at Walt Disney Studio riding around the little, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson's train, and they have all these pictures of him, and they ended up I think it was like maybe 30 years later actually finishing it.
Oh, weird. I
Yeah,
didn't
if
know he
not
had
more,
that
probably like
connection at
50,
all.
like
Yeah,
45.
I feel like
yeah.
it was very recent that it got actually finished.
Yeah, probably like 40 or 50. Yeah, you're right, Cassandra.
Well, his wife Gayla became his business manager, and he was always well taken care of. He was financially very successful. Um, and at the end of his life, there's all these well, a lot of it's been confirmed. There was all these arguments about what was real, what was truly made by him and what wasn't. They said his caretakers made him sign like 50,000 lithograph pieces of paper for lithographs and a number of canvases that they would, forge and claim them as dollies. And so it's made it very, very difficult for collectors handling them.
Oh gosh. Because then it's his actual signature.
The actual signature. And so that's it. You have to be very wary when you're dropping down big bucks.
'Cause he had a relationship with Warhol too, right?
I don't know.
That's a great question. I don't know.
I think they would hate each other.
Yeah, maybe, but the idea of like, I don't know, treating your
That's a
as
Jay-Z and Kanye situation.
Yeah, I don't think that Dolly would stand for anybody else. I mean, he had a big blowout with Picasso, and Picasso refused to say his name for the rest of
That's
his life.
Drake and Kendrick right there.
This is a self-portrait. This is him, a photograph of him and Man Ray.
That's awesome.
Adrian Brody as Salvador Dali might be the best casting.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
This is this the museum you visited?
I think so. It was like 20 years ago.
His crypt is there also. That's where he's buried.
To be buried in a crypt.
Or in your own museum.
What a dream.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Dolly wouldn't have it any other way.
that was
That's
his
the thing.
design, believe me.
Yeah. God,
All right, well, that's
a boy can dream.
Is that your dream, Timmy?
Yeah, that's all I've ever wanted, to be buried in a
I just
crypt.
want.
Well, that's my message for tonight. Take a look
That was
at
great.
Dolly.
That was
That was
awesome.
fun.
An absolutely amazing artist, and so much more than there were paintings there I hadn't seen before. So much more there than I thought.
That was cool. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting character. There's a duality to it.
Well,
That's
I think
interesting.
it's so great that you brought him up because, like, it's easy to overlook big names and not do a deep dive. So I'm really glad you did.
I've been trying to catch up on some of the ones I've missed.
And a lot of people might be wondering why we chose Dali because Joe Vaux is here tonight, and it's because they both have bells that they ring when they leave their homes. People don't know who they are.
Huge
Yeah.
gonging bells.
Yeah, that's the line we drew.
I'm kind of the
Can
same
you
way when I walk around
imagine?
the neighborhood too. It's like, hello, you know who I am?
Can you imagine
Right.
being his wife and it's just like,
Yeah.
dude, just Salvador, just put the bell away. Put the bell away. Don't.
No.
Oh, you're ringing
Oh
the
my
bell.
God. There were
Joe,
so
did
many times where he'd go on a street and there was nobody on it, but he had his bell.
Joe, did you know
Pretend to be.
Joe, did you know that your ego precedes you? I mean, it's like the first thing I saw.
Oh,
I'm totally joking.
oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm as humble as I get because, like, honestly, as I was telling Timmy, I'm a hack. I was like, how did you even find me? You reaching out for me? Like,
That was very
I'm
that
one of
was a
those
very
guys when I'm
funny
drawing.
response.
I
For
draw.
anybody wondering, Cassandra was like, it gives me the pedigree that Joe has, and I'm like, dead ringer. This guy is way above
You have a
our
great
caliber.
story. I find your career utterly fascinating. Like
Yeah.
he also had your solo that's going on right now is fantastic.
Oh,
But-
thank
but
you very
like-
much. Yeah, that was
Love
fun.
it.
But Cassandra gives this amazing pedigree, and I'm like, I'll invite him, but there's no way he'll come on. And then I emailed, and,
Like
and the
2
response
minutes
I get,
later, like, yeah, sure.
yeah, I get a response like 5 minutes later that's like, sure, I'm a hack though.
So Timmy texted me it, and I was like, he's perfect for us. This is so great. I can't wait.
Yeah. Talk about
Yeah.
like no ego. Like it's always creating has always been a struggle for me. Like the end result I appreciate, and like with my own work, it's one thing, but like when I started in animation, I spent a lot of time, especially when I was at Sony in my early years. So this is after HBO. I went to Sony because there wasn't a lot of work, and I was working on like Jackie Chan Adventures, and they had a Starship Troopers show and a Men in Black animated show and Stuart Little,
Okay.
just little bits here and there. And this is like kind of my first storyboarding gig where I'm like not under the safe umbrella of all my friends that I'd met at HBO. And I realized like, dude, like you are way out of your league. And like panic, anxiety. I would spend it was kind of cool because it was near the Culver City Studios, the animation building. And so they'd store a lot of things in their storehouse portion, and the rest of it was just cubicles for us. Um, and I remember they had this like really, there was a nice bathroom on the upstairs and on the like eastern side of the building, but then there was this little dingy bathroom on the western side of the building, which was near the storage room, where you could see like old Wheel of Fortune wheels and oh no, it's Price is Right, the Price is Right
That's
wheel
so
was back
cool.
there, and I would go down and you can see like cockroaches scurrying away as you open this bathroom, but this was my like I gotta go decompress because I'm freaking stressing out. Like I just looked at somebody else's work and then I saw what I was doing and I'm bullshit. So like I would go down there and hide for 15, 20 minutes, just practice my breathing and work up the courage to go back up, give it another go. So it's definitely been a battle.
Sounds like my entire life.
Yeah, I feel like
I
I
mean,
couldn't relate more.
I've been very lucky, and I think my good attitude has helped me survive a lot of situations. But definitely didn't walk into the building just oozing talent and like I had good energy, but not necessarily the tools that would
I
get the
have some
company
I have
moving.
some questions about that, but before we do that, we're moving on to our final and very long pose. So please post your work to Instagram. It's hashtag Drawing Hive 246, hashtag Drawing Hive and add visual arts passage. Please post it. I want to see it tonight. This is gonna be a fun one.
I got a
Um,
I got a question for Ray and Cassandra.
Hmm.
yeah.
You guys ready for the weekend?
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can't
You
wait.
guys want to say what's going on this weekend?
Yeah, I got something kind of fun going on.
What's going on?
New
Semester,
semester
the new
starts.
semester kicks off.
We're playing pickleball together.
Good.
No, no, John, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm having so much fun. I would totally forgot. We are tomorrow is the last day to enroll for the spring semester. So if you don't know what you're attending right now and you're like, what is this guy talking about? Drawing Hive is brought to you by Visual Arts Passage. What Visual Arts Passage does is we offer online classes that puts you directly in touch with working professionals that are going to help you figure out what to do with your art. What do you want to do with your art? What stories do you want to tell? What space do you want to work in? Where you want to go with what you love doing? And then they help you figure out how to get there. And so if it's from skill and craft to learning how to hone that skill, or to just putting your portfolio together to building a career. We offer classes for all of it. It's for illustration, fine arts, and gallery work. If you're interested in character design, all of it works towards a career. That's the goal. And it's possible. Don't let anybody tell you it's not possible.
It is possible. You gotta believe.
Yeah, you just got to believe, and you've got to also, in addition to believing, one of the trends that I see all the time with the successful like guest speakers we have come in and the mentors who you get to meet with one on one all the time is they all found a community. At some point, they found a community that like fostered growth and fostered progress, and you've got to find that. And I'm very proud to say that I think we offer that community in a really healthy and effective way. And not only in that, but in a very affordable way, which I personally believe is like very important in art education, is that it should be affordable. And so that's our whole thing. So if you are interested, classes start Saturday, and you can sign up
you can sign up now, you can sign up tomorrow, but you can't sign up Saturday. So really excited. We've got a whole awesome group of guest speakers coming up, and yeah, it's going to be a fun time. And I'm going to get a ton of emails on Saturday saying, help me log into class.
Well, there's a couple things I want to add, Timmy.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And first of all, the biggest killer of an art career is debt. And
Yes.
Timmy and I have worked really, really hard of trying to develop a program that is affordable
Yeah.
and works, where it's we got outcomes. So the American Illustration Awards show, or the announcements came out for the awards winner, and it's littered with our students.
It's crazy. It's littered. It's every award show. It's like a ton of visual arts passage people.
I lost
Yep.
count of how many people I congratulated. It was awesome. It was so great.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it's so hard to keep track of. I have a form for it now that people fill out on the website. And I just want to, John, I want to add to what you're saying. Guys, John and I live in pretty simple lives off of visual arts passage. It's all because we're like, this should be affordable. Like, to be totally honest, schools charging like these, I visit a lot of them, these insane amounts. It's bullshit. They don't need it. It's a lot of money. I it's one of the things that I'm very proud in, and one of my saddest, one of the most sad things I have to deal with regularly is talking with artists who have over six figures in debt that kind of don't know what to do because they have this commitment that they can't, it's like, it's tough. I mean, that's a tough crossroads to get to when you got a monthly bill, like a monthly overhead coming up that's like a mortgage on a house. But anyway,
the other thing I wanted to say beyond American Illustration, we just had our second student with an assignment from our program win a gold medal at the Society of Illustrators.
That's huge.
That's insane.
Congratulations
pretty cool
to the student.
So anyways, if you want to learn more, reach out to me. Just go to the school. It's visualartspassage.com or hello@visualartspassage.com. Yeah, it's a fun one. Yeah, Joe, I'm definitely going to be hitting you up as a guest speaker. Oh my God.
I thought we're doing it. Aren't we doing it right now?
This is a hangout.
This is
a
fun
hang,
thing.
man.
This is
a hang.
Nothing like our classes.
We're gonna,
It's a
for a
training-
guest
training
speaker,
event.
we're gonna make you sing and dance for 2.5 hours.
Oh man,
You
I
can send a rider,
cardio,
man.
that's for sure.
Our last guest speaker was Ian McCaig. So
Whoa!
He was
Oh,
epic.
hey,
He was
everybody,
epic.
I've got a really funny Ian McKegg story that, John, I haven't even told you about this yet. So I'm getting classes ready. So all of our classes are with Zoom this weekend. And if, for those of you who don't know, Zoom had a major technical meltdown yesterday where they were completely down for like 4 hours.
Oh
And-
no.
And so at the time I was messing around with Zoom and it auto-published anything that was happening at the time. And I have a webinar room for all of our guest speakers. Ian McCaig gave his talk about a week ago. I've got 6 others scheduled, right? And at the time, it just published what I had, which Ian McCaig was on the guest list.
Oh no!
And he gets an invite for 6 events in June, right? Just him, right? And he emails me the most polite email I've ever received, which was like, "Hey, Timmy, great to hear from you. I may have misunderstood the commitment when I first spoke to you, but I would love to be able to help you guys however I can. But 6 Saturdays this summer may be too much for my schedule."
Oh my gosh, he truly is just.
And I was just
nice
like, "Oh my
guy.
God, I would have messaged back like, go F yourselves." Doing this shit.
Sorry, you said yes, Ian.
You said yes, Ian. You're meeting with our students.
No
weekend.
take backs.
Yeah, no take backs. You agreed. Yeah.
Well,
I
that
was
was
like,
all
oh
because
my God, I'm so sorry.
Zoom had a little meltdown or something. That was all.
Yeah, they did. I sent John the screenshot of all the news stories about it because, as you can imagine, there were a lot of meetings that were maybe not art related that were pretty serious, not happening because of it.
Jeez, what a yeah.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
how many court cases? Like,
Oh my God, the court cases.
Where
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Ian located? Is he like Northern Cal or is he
Canada,
English or
I believe.
He's in
Right,
where?
John?
Canada.
Where
He's
in
in
Canada?
Victoria,
Vancouver,
I think.
Victoria, Vancouver, or Victoria?
Victoria.
I love the Kinks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that guy. Jeez.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Oh,
He's so sweet.
He has
Yeah.
the energy of a 10-year-old too. Like he just
Yeah.
showed up and he was like, let's talk about my warm-ups. Everybody's gonna do this warm-up while I'm doing this warm-up. And just talks about joy and art and like what keeps him excited to create. Like it was just so cool.
I mean, I just was there to make sure the room started nice, you know?
Yeah.
And he's very he shines his light on everyone, you know, that is like with him at the time, you know. So he's like, "Hey Timmy, if you have any questions during the talk, like please ask." And it's like I've never asked a question during a guest speaker event ever, right? And like later my wife is like, "You seem very like happy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I have no idea why I feel like chipper today." And it's like it's because I spoke with Ian McCaig.
Dang.
Yeah.
No, you'll get a kick. He's done this twice. First time I was so blown away the first time I saw him do it, but he did a little bit of it the other day. He talked about and demonstrated giving a pitch. And I've never seen an artist do that before. It
Yeah,
was
the
just,
elevator pitch.
oh, the elevator. It was so great.
Very cool. I mean, God, he's a legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Um, Man, that's a tough act to follow. And then you went with this garbage, huh, this week?
Well, you're a great hang. No.
Yeah, if nothing else, I am kind of fun to hang out with you.
You're a great hang. I think
Seriously, Joe,
people,
like you're super humble, but like I am fascinated by like the different directions your career has taken that started just with the love of fine arts and just kind of being open to go with the flow. And I think there's a lot to be said about being open and willing and where that's taken you after you've built your skill. Like that's a really important story that is always great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate and like I grew up with art around me. Both my parents are fine artists. And so, they never pushed it on me, but the supplies were always ready and available. Um, and I was always going with them because they were professors at universities on Long Island and then would do their own work and show in galleries. So we were always going to New York City and we were always going to their universities for different events and art. And I was just surrounded by it, but it wasn't necessarily the kind of stuff I'm creating now. But it was, you know, the potential to see like, oh, this is a pathway, all these professors and, go to studios and it was inspiring. And, it wasn't until like I was a junior or senior and it was a junior in high school that, you're starting to think about your life and like, oh, geez, what am I going to do? And what do I like? And, I was looking around my room and it's movie posters, like Star Wars stuff, models. Not a lot. I wasn't doing a ton of drawing, but I was always building stuff for like, Dungeons and Dragons adventures and things like that. And I'm like, dude, like look what you like, look what you love. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm an artist. Maybe I'm gonna be an artist. And from that point on, my parents put me into like what they considered like a boot camp because I was a little late to the game, and they're like, all right, well, you're gonna build a portfolio, and that's where we really started butting heads because I was like, I don't want to draw this stuff. I want to draw my monsters. And you're like, well, you'll get to the monsters, but to get the good structure and groundwork, you gotta work on these things too.
were they artists?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they were teaching drawing and painting and stuff like that
Really?
at school. So my mom put me in her drawing class, and then I was taking figure drawing at a local place in town and sculpting classes, but I was doing everything, painting, sculpting.
How old
And
were you when you really got serious about it? I mean, when you
I mean, I
started doing the
was it was
drawing.
late, like senior year, junior, senior year, end of junior year, over that summer, and then senior year.
God,
Um,
that is wild to me because I have the exact same experience.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really late to the game.
My father was an artist, and it was just like, man, that looks like hard work.
Yeah.
It's like he was working all the time, but I was surrounded by it. And once I started doing it, I realized I had absorbed a lot just by looking, but I didn't have the skills. So
Yeah.
I had to really kind of double down on the skill development,
Yeah. And I mean,
and I still don't.
well, yeah, that's the thing.
Right.
Like I work with people that draw very well. Everybody's got different, levels, obviously, but there are people that I'm constantly humbled by. I mean, you guys are fantastic. So it's like you're never going to get to the, and this is where you have to accept, like you're never going to get to the place where you're like totally content with, like I learned it all. I got it. I figured it out. Um, so knowing that keeps you humble, I think, but also keeps you hungry. And you just continue to learn and grow and then forget and then grow some more. And it's just an ongoing process, I guess, that you just have to kind of know that this is the journey you're on. And but yeah, I mean, I look back at my parents and how great it was to have that for me. And I like when I brought my portfolio into Syracuse to pitch getting into the art department, I had so many things. And my parents were funny. Like you got to shrink wrap all your drawings. I'm like, what? Presentation it means something. It'll look good if your drawings are protected. And I was like, really? All right, so we're shrink wrap. We're doing everything that they would want to see in a portfolio. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Shrink wrapping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you,
And,
somebody asked this question earlier. Have you ever had have you ever been on a project, or I guess they specifically asked about Family Guy, where they were like, was there a specific scene ever that you were like, I want to animate that moment?
Oh man, that's a good question. Like the way our pipeline works, like now I'm directing, so I
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of say in what's going to be my future. Like,
Yeah.
it's all rotation based. So,
Yeah.
previous director finishes. We have 9 different director teams working.
Okay.
So, when my turn is up, the script that pops in is going to be my next project.
Right.
The one I just started, or I'm about to start, honestly, I think we've kind of wiggled a little bit to make it so it is a Joe Vaux episode because Brian and Stewie are going on a little adventure and it's
When you say it's a Joe Vaux episode, what does that mean to you?
well, from my like the writer is really hoping that I get to work on it as opposed to
Uh-huh.
I mean we have tons of talented people, but like
Yeah.
they know what I paint and what I gravitate toward as far as
Yeah.
creatures and hellish landscapes and let's
And
just
maybe your
say hell
humor?
hell is on the menu and they're like,
Yeah.
oh man. So
Does your humor play into that? Or
does what?
does your humor play into that?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, you're following the script, but it's just the
Yeah.
backdrop of where the characters are going to be and maybe some of the incidental things that'll be they
Yeah.
know my dark sensibility might really lend itself
Yeah.
to that adventure. The comedy, is part of it as well, but
Yeah. I work with as for like a fun hobby, I work with a lot of comedians that are like I edit for them.
nice.
Um and I've gotten to work with some pretty massive names now. And this is a question that I was wanting to ask you is because I've
Is
had
Arnold Schwarzenegger one of the massive names? It's a long one.
no. No, but I was wanting to ask you this because I've had the opportunity now to do this and it's so painful. But have you ever had the situation where you're like, I think I can make this funnier? And you're like because I was like, be very careful. You don't want to do this too early because if you try to punch something up, and it's not a good punch up. It's bad. And then you offer the punch up and they're like, oh, cool, thanks.
I mean, so I view our shows as
Because you're working with some of the funniest people out there.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I also have a really big mouth and I can be really opinionated. So
Yeah.
in this is something I've had to learn over the years. You want to come in? My dog wants to come in and see what's going on. Come in.
Aw.
She's an old girl,
Dogs
but
are friends. Dogs are
yeah.
friends of the show.
Um, I am known, and I think a lot of the directors, like you realize that this is a collaborative art piece, even though the writers,
Yeah.
the comedians, they're funny guys, and I'm not going to take that away, but they're thinking about the joke, and sometimes you're more invested in the visual. But I have, uh, opened my mouth several times, like, hey, I think this or that may enhance or help this moment.
Yeah.
And I think I've gotten to the point where they trust me enough to say either like, oh, we'll look at it,
Yeah.
or F off. No, they don't say that. They're nice. Um, but I think, or good note, like it's a change. So like it's organic now, where I think
Yeah.
it's nice, and I don't push too many heavy buttons, but if I see something that like I feel will be stronger, um, like just this week I was pitching some ideas, and I'll make like a little presentation and I'll send an email out and just see, they might
Yeah.
just say, I think it works fine. Let's see how it plays as is. But they may also say, hey, good note, we'll take a look. So I don't know. It's
No, I would immediately, when I would do it, I would screenshot the text. I would send it to Cassandra because the response would be like, I'm trying to think of like a good response that I would get that would be just so incredibly vague. And I'd be like, what the hell does this mean?
A thumb up, a thumb up.
Yeah.
You'll have like a 3-point question in there.
Yeah, yeah. And the answer would be they don't like it.
I mean, I've also learned like
yeah,
life is short, and if you approach it in a friendly way,
yeah,
like I know everybody's sensitive about a lot of stuff, and I realize now because I've written a couple episodes of Family Guy with my buddy how hard it is to do what they do. So I totally respect the process they go through, and I think
yeah,
they, after years of working with artists so closely, really respect how much effort and work we put into making the shows as good as possible.
uh-huh.
So I think we have a nice relationship now where
That's so
The
cool.
reasonable
there's a little
dialogue.
give and take. Like, we'll give you this because you're passionate about it, but you know, uh, I don't fear reaching out if I do it in a way that's like, hey, I maybe sometimes my words don't come across that way, but I'm trying to express to them like ultimately we all just want the show to be as funny as possible. So
Yeah,
if they feel like what I'm pitching works, great. If not, then that's okay.
yeah.
Um,
I so terribly want approval.
yeah, I mean, we all do, right? Like,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I'll be lying if I say I have in the past pitched things and they're like, nah, let's just see how it works. And you're like, oh,
why did I say that? Why did yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
for the most part, I think our staff is very supportive, and ultimately we realize we all want the same thing, and if you
I
do things in a nice way, then
I pitched a joke to somebody that was tangential to a thing that we were working on. So it was like oh, this is relevant, and I pitched it, and then immediately, and I sent it to the director, and then the director sent it to the comic, and then it was like, oh, things are chugging along, like this is good, and then I was like, oh my God, I heard that from someone. Like that's not my original. Like,
Oh
and I
no.
immediately was like, everybody stop.
oh, I mean, it evolved. It was like telephone and like,
Oh no, it was literally I just like realized like
He
I was
realized
like
he wasn't the original.
I realized like oh I heard Pete Holmes say that like a comedian say that like years ago like in an old special
oh,
And so I was lucky in that I like reached out like within an hour. But it was such a roller coaster because everybody was so excited.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, there's so much, content out there. Like,
Yeah.
and I do believe there's some sort of like collective, I don't know,
Parallel
that we're
thinking.
all, we're all pulling from kind of the
It's
same things,
yeah,
And
comedians call it parallel thinking from my experience,
oh, really?
which is
Yeah.
just like we're all like living in the same world and like there's just so many angles to attack something and so when a lot of times when somebody like quote unquote like steals an idea or like I mean this works for like drawing and painting too, like the idea of stealing an idea. It's like we're all working from the same pool and we all, it's just like it's not that wild to think that somebody that's wired with like the human experience would not come to maybe the same conclusion
The
to
same
approach
conclusion.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but I draw the line at AI. FAI, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're big,
Yeah.
big FAI. Yeah. We're not like,
Now,
well, it's parallel thinking.
There is zero
I
parallel thinking.
I have a question, Joe. Like, so, I mean, you have a full-time job with Family Guy, and yet it feels like you have a full-time career with fine arts. Like, where are you finding the time
Tell
or
me about it, Cassandra.
like how are you getting that done?
Uh, it's a mess. I I mean, I'm very lucky that, my kids now are older and don't really want to hang out with me anymore. Um, and my wife is really
What a
good about,
lucky guy.
yeah, like
No,
taking
no,
care
like
of a
there's a
lot of
level.
other things.
I've 8-year-olds right now, so I'm like in it all the
You're
time.
in it, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and I did go through a lull in my creative, in my painting, because the job pays the bills for the most part. So, I I would say when my kids, because they're 6 years apart or almost 6 years apart, um, when like my son was 12 and my daughter was, 7-ish, I just couldn't muster the energy or the ideas. I was just burnt at the end of the day, So I didn't participate in as many shows. Like I'm kind of
Mhm.
getting back into you know, doing a one solo show a year and then participating in a lot of group shows.
Mhm.
But I had to work my way back into that. And my theory on the time was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep my toes in it when I'm like, being parent and we got soccer games every weekend and I'm kind of an early to bed kind of guy anyway. So I'm not working into the wee hours of the morning. Um, I just kept my toes in it. I would participate in group shows and wouldn't commit to any solo shows, and that was just my life for a couple of years. And yeah, just kind of since maybe a little before COVID, I was having a little more time and getting back into like making my paintings a little more important. So I've been pretty productive over the past I don't know 6, 7 years,
Yeah.
and yeah, but it's not easy, right? It's
Yeah.
juggling and
Like I have 8-year-olds and
they twins. Is
yeah,
that
I
what
have
I'm hearing?
twins. And like I have time for fine arts and like I teach with FAP. I couldn't imagine adding like a whole like animation sector like you're like directing and doing all of that. Like those just felt like two very full-time careers. So,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean the animation. I have to do a 9 hour day. Um, but it's nice working at home.
Mhm.
Has definitely helped this whole scenario be a little more successful. Um, But yeah, working at home, I basically start my day at 7, work till 4-ish. As a director, my responsibilities kind of roll afterwards. That if somebody reaches out and like, hey, what's this? What's that? Or can you help me with this? I'll jump back on. But say around 5-ish, I'm like saying, okay, my time is mine again. And you know, if I have to take my daughter to soccer practice, I do that or whatever, or my wife will do it. But usually that's when I'm like, okay, I can start sketching. I can start, you know, putting some gesso down and maybe block in some things. And then usually around 8 or 7, I'll sit down and, you know, like, try and get an hour in, you know, of painting. Nothing too insane, because I know, you know, the next day is another repeat. But yeah, I'm just trying to stay on top of my time, making sure I'm not too lazy. Although I've also learned as I've gotten older that um, I got to be nice to myself too.
Yeah, you do.
You're right. So like not to beat yourself up. I used to play the guilt game. Like I'd be sitting in bed tired and be like, you should be painting. You should be, you know, doing stuff. And I'd be like, shut up. You're hurting my feelings. And kind of not nice to the fact that my body's telling me I need to rest.
Right.
So I don't know. I walk the line now, and I again don't overcommit to too many projects or shows, and you know just keep it comfortable. And I really appreciate when like a gallery or you know reach out with like months of time before
Yeah.
are meant to happen because I don't thrive under pressure to produce. So if I have months to prepare for something, uh, you know, the result will be that much better. So,
Because you had a big solo. Like, how long did you have to prepare that?
I mean, 10 months, like I would say 10 months of deep thought and painting. And then, but during that time, I'm also, you know, doing group shows here and there too. Like Arch Enemy will reach out, and I really like them a lot. So I'm like, all right, I'll do an Arch Enemy piece.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're super nice.
yeah. So I try and just spread myself between 3 or 4 galleries and just leave it at that. But if an opportunity comes up that is irresistible, you know, then
Yeah,
I'll have to
those ones
reevaluate.
are hard. That's cool.
Yeah. It ain't easy though, right? For any of us. Like it's a lot of work.
Cassandra, I got something to show you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we were talking about, you're always asking, we usually say that at the beginning when we were talking about materials at the beginning. What I didn't say was I'm working on Gator board. And so
Oh,
I,
fun.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
these,
yeah.
I have these pieces and it's painted with acrylic. That's a flat paint down, but as I'm going through a whole bunch of Gator board, I'm a lucky guy. I found a bunch of like a piece of Gator board
Ooh,
that had some like studies of my dad's.
So cool.
That's oh my gosh.
Isn't that hysterical? I'd never seen him before.
That is so cool.
I was getting ready to paint over a bunch of
Oh
these small pieces, and I'm like,
my God.
"Oh my God, look at that!"
Is
Like,
this
Yeah,
do you remember were these like studies for something bigger or
Yeah, it's just him goofing around.
yeah?
This might have been, this geisha might have been. I have no idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
so cool, John. I'm
Pretty
so
So
glad
you,
you did not accidentally paint over that.
so John, did you just like, is this like a Drawing Hive exclusive, like first revealed, like
Found Mark
Jo-
English.
found Mark English, never before seen paintings?
Yeah, that's what it was. If that's
See
what you
that,
want.
Joe? That's how we
Yeah.
roll here.
That's pretty sweet. Like to discover little gems in your own house.
It's
I
kind
just
of,
find lost socks of my kids. Like that's just it's not fair.
Masterpieces, just stinky masterpieces.
Well, what? No, no. Well, if you find a matching sock that's been long lost, though, you feel like you've conquered the
This is
known
true.
universe, right?
This is true. This is why like I was off getting my kids patterned socks for the longest time.
And when you put the two socks together, they glow like the stones in Temple of Doom. Like, these socks are made with real diamonds. Diamonds. Yeah. Well, I will say, like, we're to the point now where my daughter's excellent. She does her own laundry. Uh, Everybody does their own laundry in the house.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
uh,
that I can't imagine those days.
yeah. Huh?
Do you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do my own laundry.
Do you really? Good for
Yeah.
you.
Proud of you, man.
That's
Thanks, guys.
when I got married, that was the one thing that just remained separate. our, our laundry is still completely, I don't know what my wife's laundry schedule is. She doesn't know mine. It's,
Well,
we're
yeah,
both single. We're both single when it comes to laundry.
yeah, that's okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
my wife used to help me out, and she's awesome. She would, but like my clothes are so smelly that I'm to the point where I'm like, it's probably nicer if I just do it because then she won't have to like, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
When
real
I grew
love,
up, it
man.
was just like a commercial, just like everybody's clothes. It's actually, I think about that all the time. Like it was just three boys, all of our clothes together, and we just figured it out. There was
Yeah.
no, yeah, it was just put stuff on until it fits. Um,
This must have been mine. It
yeah.
fits.
It fits. That's a, glory days of Wes Anderson. I always think of Darjeeling Limited. That was my favorite scene. There's a scene where Owen Wilson is talking with what's his name? I said his name earlier.
Jason
Adrian
Schwartzman.
Brody.
Adrian Brody. And Adrian Brody looks at him and goes, "Is that my shirt?" And I was like, that's the most like sibling conversation ever. Are you wearing my shirt?
I love it.
Yeah, can I borrow it? That's the go-to reply. Yeah, can I borrow it?
Well, see, this is why
Yeah.
I relish having twins because we just throw all their clothes together, and I was like, just pick out what you want to wear.
Are
Mhm.
they both boys you said?
Girls.
Both girls. Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
You
as
get a
a mom,
lot of BOGO deals in that situation.
No, unfortunately.
Really not?
A lot of
Oh,
consignment shopping, honestly.
okay. I was hoping.
And
like, do you notice? I mean, they're young, but creative juices.
oh, very much so. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of cool, right? This.
The big accomplishment recently, right, Cassandra?
Yeah, one and she's 8 and she won an art award like for
That's
the
awesome.
county.
A county art award.
She was
Dang.
shocked and she's the one who does not like attention. So she was just like we had to coach her through just being like, it's okay, you're gonna just shake some hands. You're gonna walk across and shake some hands.
Whoa,
Oh,
Big Samantha.
that's so cool, though.
Yeah.
What
The
what was
idea.
the like assignment, or was there like
I
a
I
prompt that
don't
they followed?
I don't know what the exact assignment was, but there was some beautiful birds that she painted and
Oh,
they really liked it. So she got an award. Like we didn't submit anything. We were just like got an email like, "Hey, she won and you should come. They're gonna give her an award."
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
We're gonna put that on the website and just take credit for it. We're gonna ride those coattails.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say you should add that onto the awards list.
We
Yeah,
have
yeah. I think my kids
visual
will
arts
be more award
passage.
winning than I will, because
We have no
I
shame.
I
like,
love it.
well, I can talk to you about Regency cravats and such, y'all.
Wait,
But by
we're
the
talking
way,
fancy
shout out
ties?
to
Oh yeah. So my realm, Joe, is animals and clothes from different eras. And so yeah, I can go down a rabbit hole of costuming.
I love it. Ooh, a fancy cravat.
Yes.
Very cool. Um,
What I'm trying to think of production stories that are really common, and one of the most common like we've had in the past production stories is like a production that you were on that was a nightmare that you figured out how to get through it. Have
hmm.
you had a lot of those, or have you been pretty blessed with like working with a big
Man, I
studio?
think for the most part, besides the anxiety, of just surviving the gig,
Yeah.
um, I've been pretty lucky.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, I have always been lucky to be surrounded by people that, for the most part, are pretty supportive. And I'm not like the type of person that would like complain too much, but uh, like when I so I went from HBO to trying storyboarding, trying character design, trying a little of everything. This is animation. I dig it. To one of my friends from HBO leaving to direct the show there was an animated show Dilbert
Oh
for a
yeah.
few years,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that the creator of Dilbert was such a heinous dick at the time, but
Isn't it wild that he was just like, we've got a nice, he was just like, we've got a nice thing going. What if I burned it all
yeah,
down?
just burn it all. Like, no clue. And then, so Dilbert, I'm like, oh, cool. The little comic strip guy.
Yeah.
And so my buddy, he's directing and he hired me because he knew I was green to be his assistant director. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is like, again, the perfect learning scenario. Like, I am going to be my friend Alfred, and he's going to teach me the ways, and I will learn. So 2 weeks into, or maybe 3 weeks into, and I'm working on one of his episodes, and then we're looking at the next script, and he calls me into his office, and he's like, Joe, I just got offered a gig at another studio, and I'm gonna take it, but I think you should stay here and direct this episode. And I'm like, dude, I don't have that skill set yet. Like, I don't even know what that means. He's like, yeah, but you'll be all right. You'll survive. And like the supervising director on the show was a nice guy. And he's like, just stick with it here. I think you'll be fine. So my buddy who's gonna teach me how to do it leaves, and I'm suddenly thrown into like directing an episode of this show, and I don't even know what that means. And the thing that was kind of funny is um the showrunner and head writer is Larry Charles from like Seinfeld era, and he directed Borat, I think.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
like
Wow.
he's a comedic legend, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm thrown into not the fire, but it's just like, all right, so now I gotta kind of pitch episodes to this guy. And anyway, that's where the anxiety really was cranking on all cylinders. And I survived. It wasn't pretty, and I was pretty honest with my boss. I'm like, listen, Alfred was going to be my like mentor, and suddenly I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. And it worked out. I survived. We did a couple seasons of the show, and it was all fine, but it was rough. That's when I spent a lot of time in that bathroom, just crying. Doing. Yeah.
Funny. Everybody, we got 5 minutes.
No.
5 minutes to keep drawing.
Oh,
And
Enough
then,
time ever.
and then I'm gonna tell you to start posting it.
how do we do
Which
that? I
I
guess everybody's seen it.
so I've been running the Visual Arts Passage account for Instagram for quite a while now. I'm not a fan of it. Joe Tomsick ran it for a long time. Joe was much better at it than me. I just troll people now. um, but I did the reset, like have you guys done the algorithm reset yet? Because
Uh-uh.
it's so wild. The Visual Arts Passage account, when I inherited it from the student that was running it, it was such a pleasant place. The algorithm was like, look at this artwork. It was just artwork. It was all great artwork. And it was like so educational and so nice. And then I had it for like 2 weeks. And like my intention, whenever I would be like, okay, now I got to do Visual Arts Passage stuff, I'd be like, only look at art. You can only look at art because you're going to mess up the algorithm on this account, and it's going to be a mess. And even me trying not to do that, it within a matter of 2 weeks, it was like UFC videos everywhere. And it's just like, and I reset the algorithm on it. I recommend, I would have recommended trying it. I reset the algorithm on it and it just was like, it's somehow worse. It's just like,
So I shouldn't ever do that.
I wouldn't do it. It's just like the first video that popped up after I reset it was like a CCTV video of like a fight at a bar.
Ooh, no
And you're
thanks.
just like, and you're just like, wait, why is this the baseline?
Yeah, that's exactly it, right?
Like, I don't follow any
UFC.
fight accounts.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm gonna have to give it to Joe for a while, I guess, or something, and just say like, fix it.
Have her get it back on track.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I would say that just in general, the whole environment is hit or miss, right? Like even if you're only following artists, they're gonna throw a bunch of other stuff at you. Like,
Yeah.
oh no,
it's
what?
totally absurd. Um, and it's funny because now I have a old phone that I use just for the school, and it's like I opened the Kara app today and was like, man, it would have been cool if people had really stuck to this one.
I know, Kara would have been sweet, right?
Yeah, I was like, dang, it would have been cool.
Yeah. Even
Yeah,
any guys trying that blue sky?
I didn't. Did
yeah,
you?
I mean, I did just because, I was looking for
yeah.
alternatives and whatnot, but it's not quite as good as Kara, what Kara offers, and
Kara, yeah.
certainly Instagram. Like,
It's where I post stuff for the school if I want no one to see it. It's where I post all our secrets. It's corporate secrets of visual arts passage is where what I post to. I could post like all of like like all of our financial data to Blue Sky and no one would see it.
yeah, it's a nice safe place to store stuff, huh?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's tough. It does seem like people are fed up enough with the current platforms that there is eventually, it's not going to happen fast, but eventually there's going to be an opening for a new player. But I think the issue is that it catches on in such a rapid way that it grows at a pace that these
It can't
platforms,
handle.
a pace of these platforms that we that like Facebook didn't have to grow at that pace. Neither did Instagram or
That's a
Twitter.
good point because you could sense that with Kara. Like they would send
Yeah.
those like posts like, "Hey, when it was first happening big, like, oh, we have people working all hours of the night to try and get things
Yeah.
working smoothly again. We're sorry."
Yeah, and then
Really
there was
apologizing. I was
times,
like, "All right."
yeah, and then there were times where like I read about the photographer that founded it. I read their kind of like commentary on it, and they were kind of disillusioned about like the reality of like, hey, there's a small company like hosting your platform, and like if they're giving you like $100,000 worth of resources, like you have to pay them, like you can't like ghost them.
Yeah.
And they got to a point where like, there was this like server company like tagging them like responding to their Twitter. And you're just like, oh, this is brutal. Um, but yeah, no, I would have been nice, but now I have to sift through like basically America's Funniest Home Videos while I'm trying to post Instagram stuff for the school.
But I will say this, like and I'm very conscious when I am scrolling, like I do get stuck on a couple things, and I'm like, damn it, this is gonna mess up my algorithm.
No.
I get
You're
stuck.
like,
I get stuck
ah,
on. I get stuck on things that have no interest to me at all, other than just like it's rubbernecking. It's a car
Yeah,
accident.
it's like, what is this?
yeah,
Sometimes I see things that upset me, and I look at them because I'm like that. Oh, that's awful. And then I'm like, I don't want to look at that. Why am I looking at that? And then it's like, hey, we thought since you loved that.
yeah,
No.
we got some other stuff for you.
Yeah. It's
Um,
right up your alley, Timmy.
well, I was cracking up. My buddy says I'm not a TikTok guy, and I've never used TikTok, but
Yeah.
there's this guy that makes stuff in his kitchen with a cow, and it just destroys me. Like it's so funny. I can't
Yeah.
not watch him. And so I looked up a few of those, and occasionally they'll pop up on Instagram, but it's just this guy with it's a pet cow, and they're in the kitchen making pancakes, making pizza, and the cow is trying to muscle in there and get some of the snack, like lick this, lick that, push him aside, and
Yeah.
it's so stupid. It's like kind of slapstick, if
Oh
it was
yeah, no,
black
that's
and
the
white.
stuff I love. That is what
It's
like
it's innocent and it's funny. And then they all kind of eat at the table, eating these pancakes after the cow's like drooling all over everything. I can get into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I live.
Your guys' algorithm is child's play compared to mine.
Oh no, but I got that business too. Like the I don't know.
We don't even have to go into it, Joe.
Why is this there?
You're just like, this surely isn't representative of my mind.
Like, oh.
Hey, everybody, start posting to Instagram. We're gonna go head over there in about 3 minutes. The Instagram hashtags are hashtag Drawing Hive 246, Visual Arts Passage, and hashtag Drawing Hive, because I want to be able to go there. And I always send people whenever I have guests on, I send them to the hashtag Drawing Hive because that shows them everything from like every episode. So it's always nice for you to post it there because they're like, oh, a lot of people putting work out there.
So I gotta post these somehow. I'm gonna,
No, Joe, don't worry about it.
Dude, I'm gonna do it.
No.
It's gonna be after the fact though.
We'll message and I'll get your images and we'll do it later.
Okay.
Also, I just post mine to my story because it's
Yeah.
too confusing. Otherwise, like I only paint animals, and if I
Yeah.
throw then like
Oh,
an
I
alien
also
up, they're
paint
gonna be
aliens.
like,
Which
you spin on my work here.
gotta say, it would be insane if we went the entire episode not acknowledging your backdrop, Joe.
Is it?
Oh man.
It's epic.
So early on when I got, I had the call with Chris about we'd love to use your artwork. And then I was supposed to talk with their like I forget his title, but he was like the guy who was he's like a prop master, set master, but like he was gonna walk me through like, getting the images, at a file size that was appropriate for their needs. And so we were gonna do the Zoom call, and I'm like, oh, I should make a funny image. And I chickened out at the end because I was like, I don't know this guy at all, like sense of humor wise. Like I might just rub him the wrong way. But what if Joe Vaux was every character? And
I was like, I know exactly who you were in every single one.
yeah, so like, yeah, I made that years ago, and I was like, oh, this might be the perfect use for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the photo shoot was fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can tell those are not photos that you went and like you weren't going through your photos. You took all those photos.
Oh yeah, I found like an image of like Sarah Tomko and like the expression she kind of had. I tried to so yeah, just it was all done with computers and cameras. It was a pretty high tech operation.
Looks like it.
Oh,
All
the
CGI.
The work out there is looking pretty. I'm looking at the work now. It's awesome.
Oh man, look at all these fun. I'm watching everybody still working. I thought this brushes down. Test was over.
No. Brush it. You keep drawing. You keep drawing, Joe. Sorry, this is your first time.
Yeah.
Understandable that you would follow the rules.
I'm gonna catch up because I haven't stared at you guys working yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk around the room. I'm gonna do a little room walk. Nice.
Awesome.
John making magic.
That's okay.
Oh,
Look at that.
Nice, Scott.
God, magic maker.
Nice.
Scott, you haven't said a word the whole night. You've been focused.
I've been freaking out over like there's so much to draw just on this guy's face. What was I thinking trying to draw anything else?
Yeah.
So just ran out of time.
Locked in, Scott. That's what they say. That's what they call.
That's what they call me.
Now American Illustration, selected.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, what?
Thank you.
What? Explain that more. Wow, exciting.
I got a piece in the newest book of American Illustration that's going to come out. They just announced yesterday. We got the emails, if you got in. So yeah, got a piece for the New York Times that I got in.
Hey.
Oh, that's fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you, Joe.
You, Scott, you always get in. Good job.
It's been a good streak. I think this is my 6th year in a row. So that was
killing.
But still, you're always on pins and needles until you find out.
Congrats, man.
I'm surprised they selected such a small publication, Scott. Wow, New York Times.
I know, yeah. They wanted
What's
to
it
give those
called
guys
The
a
failing New York
little time in the
Times.
limelight.
Raymond, that's looking sweet too.
Oh, nice,
Oh,
Ray.
thanks, man.
Nice one, Raymond.
Just
Got to
scribbling
smile so well.
hope.
I'm excited. Alan's got a bunch of things coming up. I think he's going to be in that Clayface movie. I think he's doing the voice again of Kate. I think it's K2 in that Andor season 2 that's about to come out.
Alan's
I think
got
he's a voice
a
in the
rock
new
star.
Superman movie too.
I think he
I
is
think he's
too.
voicing a robot or something.
He's a talented guy, silly and
This is
I won't
hilarious.
watch until there's a Firefly relaunch.
My favorite
Classic.
movie that he was in was Death at a Funeral. Like, he was so funny. That is my favorite role he's ever been in.
he's so quirky and pretty versatile too.
Yeah. Gosh.
This cracked me up. Somebody said I got a rejection email from them and I didn't even submit anything.
Wow, that's hostile.
Hey, make sure you
Yeah.
learn from.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Because Scott, when you said like they sent the emails yesterday, I was thinking, it's. I mean, you gotta admit, sorry anybody who was waiting on that email.
Oh, well, at least time to rip off the Band-Aid, right?
Yeah, you gotta confront those situations eventually.
It happens.
Are you guys ready to see some art?
Yes.
Ready to stop this thing.
All right,
Put the coffee cup in.
it's happening. I don't want anybody to ever see my algorithm. It's terrifying.
It's almost like nudity. Oh, don't look! It's my algorithm.
It is.
Oh,
In more ways than one sometimes. Yeah. All right, guys.
sweet.
All right, let's do it.
Be prepared, Joe. There's some good drawers in here.
Yeah, there are.
Mhm.
Damn it! I mean, way to go.
Whoa.
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah.
Here you go, Robert.
Robert, sorry that you got that rejection email, even though you didn't submit.
So good.
Dang.
Great job.
Good job, everybody.
Awesome.
Whoa.
Oh,
Here's
I
Anderson.
love it. Okay. Stop
Good
trying to-
stuff.
Good job.
Great job. Super
Nice.
bad colors.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
really
love it.
nice, Padma.
Padma, nice.
Ooh,
Eric.
okay.
Ooh, really good.
Nice, Eric.
Eric.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Great job, Juan.
Nice one.
Nice one.
Oh,
Really
cool. yeah.
nice.
I love it.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Chuck. That's awesome.
Man, I knew
love-
that was Chuck's the second it came up.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck.
That's awesome.
Eat.
I
Chuck's-
love it.
Oh, that's so fun.
It's fun.
Oh, wow.
Just a little toss.
That's
Oh, no
amazing.
big deal.
No big
Oh,
deal. No big deal.
Really nice.
Good stuff. Oh, fun.
Oh,
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
Nice, Ava.
Oh,
Wow, love it.
Alexandra.
Page.
fantastic.
Wow.
The
Wow.
Italian
Man.
family. Nice.
Ooh, that's
Very
cool.
Love it.
That's really cool. I love how you handled the fur collar.
AJ,
Nice.
Nice,
Okay.
AJ.
bringing the heat.
Ooh, very nice.
Good stuff.
Great
Ooh.
job. Wonderful silhouette.
Xander,
Ooh.
love it. Gotta
Really
love it.
nice, Sander.
Nice, Xander.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good job. Oh, that's
Nice.
lovely. Really nice. Great getting all the background in too.
Gary.
Gary's right. Nice,
He
Gary.
brings it, Gary.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Like that, yeah.
Fun.
Really
Nice,
nice,
Julian.
Julian. Love that
Good
plaid.
stuff.
Look at all these
There you
peeps.
go.
Great job.
Ooh,
Ooh, I love how you
nice.
A
handled
centerfold, it looks like, right?
that.
Yeah. It is. It's centerfold.
Cool.
Great.
Stuff.
That's
So
good drawing.
nice.
Nice.
First timer. Nice for joining. Thanks.
Very
Padma.
nice drawing.
Uh-huh.
Padma.
Great
That's
job.
awesome.
Padma.
Padma.
Nice.
Excellent.
Y'all went for all the
howdy.
details. It's so
I
great.
know, right?
Yeah, that's a
Cool.
fun one.
I think somebody was inspired by last week. A little some alla prima.
Mm.
That has a little bit of a Dolly line quality. That last one.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Great job. Oh, really nice. Good
Great.
likeness.
Nice.
So fun.
Fun stuff. I love it,
Oh,
AJ.
that's sweet.
AJ, that's
Thanks,
cool.
AJ.
Wow, that is cool.
Really nice.
Cool.
Love it. Love all your patterning and texture you built into that.
Thank.
Really good.
Good stuff.
Really good.
That is fun too.
Love it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
That's cool.
Very, very cosmic.
Oh,
Yeah, awesome.
Marcy. Love it.
That's awesome. That's so good.
And congratulations to you, Marcy.
I
What's
want both
what's
pies.
Marcy's congratulatory?
Oh, she got an American illustration too.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh, that's nice.
Nice.
The professional.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Love all the
Well,
color you used.
Whenever
Ooh,
it's all
Terry.
on one page. Oh, nice,
Nice,
Terry.
Terry.
Really nice.
Ooh,
fun.
that's cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's
Love
great.
that.
Well, that's nice too.
Great
Yeah,
line
it
work.
is.
Stuff.
Man, all these talented cats out there.
Yeah. Ooh, Gary. Love the leaves.
Dang.
Super fun.
Ooh, I
Nice.
take that one too.
Nice
Yeah.
Nicole.
Oh,
Ooh,
cool. New person.
In
Nice.
progress.
Nice
Oh,
stuff.
There you go.
very
that's
cool.
lovely.
For that.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
That's
Very
cool.
cool.
Felicity, dang.
Nice.
Felicity.
Wow, Felicity.
Yeah.
Oh,
Age
man.
13.
Really good.
We're gonna ground you. Watch it. Joe, Felicity's been drawing with us since he was 7.
Oh man, she's talented.
That's
Keep
cool,
drawing.
Nicole.
Nice stuff.
Great
Nice,
job.
Aaron.
Really good
Awesome.
drawing.
Love it. Love it.
Nice, Valerie.
Yep.
Wow, nice, Valerie.
I love it,
somebody-
Jeff.
Yeah.
So great. Can
I
you believe
think-
how fast he works?
Yeah, jeez.
I think I'm gonna give Joe. I think I'm gonna give Jeff the woe of the night.
It's really good.
Is that Keanu and
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Alex?
It is. We use the
Excellent.
soundboard for. We use the
Oh,
soundboard.
I should have worn my Wild Stallion shirt.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We use
For
the
legal
soundboard
reasons, we
for,
can't say.
Soundboard gets used for 3 things.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Lisa?
Really nice.
Really nice.
Great job. So
Awesome
fun.
stuff.
Great drawing.
Good stuff. Wow, so much. A lot of busy night.
Love
Busy,
it.
Yeah, everybody's
Love
producing.
it.
Jeez.
busy night. Everybody's cooking
Ooh, that's
Good.
good.
Yeah.
stuff.
Good pattern.
Ooh, I like that.
I could see it. Hey, that's the last one. It's a good one to end on.
That's a
Yeah.
fun one.
I just want to I
Awesome.
just want to remind everybody enrollment is still open. It closes end of day tomorrow. So if you're thinking about it, reach out, give us a call tomorrow, or email timmy@visualartspassage.com or just go to the website. What a fun night.
Great night,
Yes, thanks so
everybody.
much for reaching out. This was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
Joe, very, very nice to meet you.
Thank
Nice
you,
meeting you guys
Joe.
too.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Joe.
And
Joe, you could very easily become like a regular favorite on the show. We honestly, we would probably just lose the show to you.
no. This has been awesome. Like I think I learned something too, and you guys are all excellent and talented.
What did you learn? To not respond to your website's forums as
Yeah,
easily?
like send most of my email to trash.
Don't check it.
Yeah, or just don't check.
Yeah.
No, this has been a pleasure, you guys. You're awesome, and man, so fun. Makes me want to like next time figure out a way to do it with old school stuff.
We're gonna have
Some
you
like,
back.
not
games.
high
Cardboard,
tech,
my
but-
friend.
We're
Sandra,
gonna
thanks
fold
for-
you into this. Yeah.
Cassandra, thanks for pulling all this together. You did a great job. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's for Cassandra.
so happy. Thank you all.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see
Joe,
you,
so
Scott
much.
and Ray.
You guys,
Everybody.
yeah,
Thanks,
pleasure
everyone.
meeting you all. And what is this where we all sing that song you said, Timmy? We all sing
Why
one?
don't you kick it off for us, Joe?
Joe, kick off the song.
I forget the song.
How does it start? Remember, it starts me.
Visual arts passage. Everybody log in now. Register for classes this weekend. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly like that.
Usually
I'm
there's
gonna,
like a guitar
All right.
and like some piano stuff.
You
yeah,
got the important part. All
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
clip it. All right. Good night,
Oh, man.
everybody. All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night, everybody.